So today we're going to look at the in. So the in, we use it when you're searching. Let me try to zoom that you can see properly. We use in when we are searching a list, or when we are searching values that lie under a certain list. We use in. For example, if we are searching certain values that are in a certain list, by that time we can use the in. Okay, it allows you to do what to specify multiple values in a where clause. So if you want to search a name which is existing in a certain list, we can use the in. So with the in, it will help us to give us a list of things which are under that particularly that we specified. Assume that in a table of this table, we want to search members who are 22 and 16 years old. So there we'll have to use what? You can use in. Okay, in a normal way. First of all, we can do that by writing. So let me come here and create a new file. New file. Where is it? I'll do like this. Come here, open new instance, go to Shift N, and then I'll drag and drop this SQL, and then after I'll come and select where do you stop at 15. So I'll create a new file and save it as, go to Shift S and save it as 16, and then I'll put here, instead of like, I'll put in. Okay, so in, for example, another way of how we can use in. For example, I want to select from this table of students and display students who are having either the age of 22 or 50 or 16. So how can you do that? We can do that by simply writing select, select all from where? From students. So write students in small letters, students where. So here we can use the O. I hope we have discussed the O and. Did we? In SQL, did we discuss the O and in SQL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So here we can use the what? The O and. So you can say where the what? Where age is equal to 20, and then you put here, or age is equal to 50, or age is equal to 16. So assume that you want a list of members who are having one of those ages. Okay, so to do, we have to write that SQL. Okay, so if we come here and just run it, just duplicate it, we try to zoom that you can see properly. So I press Ctrl Enter to run the SQL. You'll see it will bring for us students who are having this age, which are two students which are having age of either 50 or 60. So anyone who is lying under this age will be what will be presented. Assume if I make this one 22, because I have some that's having age of 22. So if I run the SQL part, I'll just press there my SQL, run it. You see that we get the list of this age. Now assume that it's a long list, maybe it's a list of 100 members, so it will be a little bit hectic to do what? To construct that list. So they simplified it by using the in. So here, instead of doing this O, we can as well do like this: select all from where? From here, where age in, then you put here the in qualifier, and then you open the bracket and specify a list that you want a result to be existing in that list that to be displayed. So I have to put 22 comma 50 is separated with the comma, 50 comma 16. So it here to bring for us the students who are having age that is in this list. Do we understand? Remember,
No.
you did not understand. Okay, let me first run it, then you'll understand. First of all, did you understand this? Where your age is either 22 or 50 or 16, you should be displayed. Did you understand this part?
Yes.
You understood, right? So a simpler way to write this, we can simply say select all from students where age is in this list. So it is in the same list, but instead of saying all age got this, all this got to this, all this got to this, we can simply put those things in a list and use the in qualifier and say where age is in list. So even if there are many lists, it will just bring students whose age is inside the list that we have specified here, which is the same list as here. So if I run this one as this SQL, have SQL, paste it, run it. Can you see? It has brought the same list. Okay? So which one is simpler to write? Which one is simpler and which one is shorter? I think the second one, the in, is simpler. So this can replace this one, and this can also as well replace. So they do the same task, but the in is implemented like that. Did you understand?
Yes.
Good. So I can as well put not. Okay. So if I put not, so it will have select student who are not existing in what? Who are not existing in that list. Okay. So if I run it, you'll see it has brought all other students, but who are not inside this list. So you just simply put the not, and it will do the what? It will do the opposite. I hope we got the point, right? So let's look at the between. So between will help us to find the values that are in a certain range. For example, we want a student who are having the age between 18 and 25. So the between will help us to get those particular ages. I mean the particular results using a certain range. And it should be applied in a what? On a row of a number, on row of numbers, okay? So I can as well select, let me save this one and rename it as 17, and then SQL B twin, okay? So after doing that, save, and then I'll say select age where, okay? So also between can help us to do what? To replace the in selector. We can as well select a range. So you say select student where, or select all from student where age between. So if put here between, okay, the in is not supposed to be there, and then you put a range, okay? You put a range. For example, I can say I want student who are having 18 and 25 years, between 18 and 25 years. So what will I do? I'll put 18, and then you put the word and then maybe 25 years. So here to bring all the students who are having the age that is lying under this bracket. It's just like English, yeah? So if I come to SQL and I select all and I paste this one, I'll see that it has brought only students who are having that particular range of age. Now, assume that we want to students who are having the 20, even between 20 itself, okay? So we can as well, if we put 22 for example, 22, the question is, will the 22 also come? Because we can see 22 is already in the result. Now assume that I include even 22. So does it begin from the margin? Like also the 22 will come if in case it is the boundary, or it will begin from the values that are inside without by ignoring the boundary. Let us run this SQL and find out. So you see, it begins from the boundary itself. You see 22 is at the boundary and it has started from 22 exactly and above. Okay, so it is greater than or equal to that minimum value, and then less than or equal to the maximum value. It's what it returns. So in another way, you can as well write this SQL as, I think you can write it as select all from where? From student, where age is greater than equal to, and I mean, no, you put O and is greater than or equal to that, and age is less than or equal to 25. That is another way. I think we can write that SQL like that as well. Okay, so you can either use between or you can use that one. So if you come and run, select all, paste, Ctrl Enter, you see it has done the same job. Okay, it has done exactly the same job. So you can use one of the two. You can either use the first one or the second one, but the most efficient one is this first one because it is specifically for selecting ranges. Okay, but if you create your own custom SQL, it may lead you to do what? To pitfalls. Okay, are we together? Are we together?
Yes, man.
Okay, good. So that's how we select the ranges. So aliases, they help us to rename our columns temporarily. Okay, they'll help us to rename our columns temporarily. For example, you may need to select a count. Okay, so we will find that problem actually when in PHP, when you are selecting count, you'll find that the count returns the bracket, and in PHP a variable cannot be named as a bracket, so you'll find some problem, but I'm going to show you how we can do that. Or sometimes also we'll start joining tables. You'll find that some tables, they have same columns. We're going to look at joins. In joins, you'll find like we're having two tables which are having some same names of columns. Okay, so how will you know that this is a particular name from a certain table and this is a particular name from the other table? You'll find some ambiguity and it will be hard for us to do what, to identify them. So these aliases, they enable us to temporarily change the name of a certain value to a name that is friendly to us or that we need. To do that, we can simply select like this. I'm going to create another file, and I'm going to call it SQL Aliases. So I'll just come and say Ctrl Shift S, and then I change this one to what? To 18, and then come and change this one to SQL Aliases. So I'll select all and delete. Let me just delete only the. Okay, so I can as well say I can rename something. For example, if we click on browse, we'll see all the results, all the search results. For example, I want to see my result here as gender instead of sex. Okay, and I want to see the result to be full name instead of name. I want the result to appear like that. So how do we do it? We can rename them. Okay, we can rename them. Before, we could just simply say select, for example, name, comma, sex, from where? From student. Okay, so if I run this SQL, if I run the SQL, you will see, if I run it, you'll see it gives us the first name and the gender. So those are the two results, I mean the two columns that we requested for and are the ones that have been brought. Now sometimes we may need to rename the values, the columns, okay? Like the way I told you, when you proceed to bigger projects, you'll find that we are using multiple tables, and some tables, they're having same names. For example, you find that a table of users is having an ID. A table of products is having an ID. Now you're selecting a user and their products, and you find that you're joining these two tables, but these two tables, they have same columns, which are the one, another is called ID and another is called ID. Now how will you differentiate that this is the ID for the product and this is the ID for the owner of the product, which is the user? So it will be a little bit complicated. So to do that, we can rename when the results are coming back. So to rename, you use as, okay? So you can say as, maybe let me put full name even in capital letter, full name, okay? So it means that it will remove this one, it will bring it as full name. So I can put also here as, maybe as what, as gender, okay? But make this one capital, but case does not matter, okay? So it will change the word full name, and the result it will be, I mean, it will change the name, the column of name, and it will make its result to be full name because of this as full name, and it will change the column of sex and make it as gender, okay? Then if I copy it all, come and paste, run the SQL, paste it here, run. Something is wrong. Do I need to, I think I don't need to do what, put space, I think I don't need to do what, put space in naming. I hope that's it. SQL, paste it all, run. Yeah, so don't put full space. So members, can you see the results? Here we're expecting the word name, but it has been changed to what? To full name. And here we're expecting the what? The word sex, and it has been changed there to do what? To gender. Okay? So that's how we can use the aliases or the as to change the name of the results that are coming from the table. Okay? So we proceed to joins. But before we go to join, give me 5 minutes and I drink some water because I've been working. So we say that we're going to look at joins. So the join SQL, they help us to select from more than one table. We use join to select or to write an SQL that will enable us to select from more than one table. Assume that we're having a table of products and table of suppliers. So we want to select the supplier and the product. Which supplier and the table, which supplier supplied which product. To do that, we have to use the what? We have to use the word join. I mean, we may need to use the what? Join. So a join will enable us to link the two. So this is how join it is written. For example, here they are showing an example. We are having a table of orders. There are the orders. Each order is having an ID, is having a customer ID, and is having an order date. So here, sometimes we may need not to record all the information of a customer in this table of order. Okay? Because the customers already have their own table. So what if you record here the customer name, the customer location, the customer, it will be what? It will be repetition. For example, when the customer make 3 orders, you'll find yourself that you're repeating the same information. So what do we do? We do what? We record the customers separately in their own table and record the orders separately. So when a customer places an order, in the order we just take the customer ID. Okay? So this customer ID, we will use it to relate to the customer who placed this order. So once we have someone's ID in a table, then it means that we can get all the information from the other table, because they have given us their what? The ID, and it's in our particular table. So other than recording, for example, you can create a table which is having customer name, customer last name, whatever. So you'll find it is complicated. Okay, it is complicated, and it is not even complicated. You're repeating yourself. If you record my name and my last name and my phone number in orders date, so every time I create an order, then you repeat the same information, and you'll find it so hard to do what? To maintain, because when you change one record, when I change the record, maybe to update my record, you need to update all the places where you wrote me, which is so a little bit complicated. So what do? We record those entities in separate tables, then we use join to do what? To join those two. And this is how the join works. For example, here we're going to select from these two tables, the table of orders and the table of what? And the table of customers. So to do that, we just simply say select, and here if you want to specify that this order ID is from order table, we begin by writing its table name and then put dot, then the order, the ID, the column name. Like you can see here, we're having orders dot the column name. We're having customers dot the customer first name. These are the information that we are selecting. The ID, the first name of a customer, and the order date. So we write that, select this information that should be displayed, then you put the table that you want to join from. So we want to use the table to join, then you have what you call inner join. So inner join, I will explain what it means. Then you say inner join, you have different types of join. You have inner join and outer join, okay? So inner join, it will join the tables, the values that are matching in both in both tables. So you can see here we're having customer ID at the same time customer ID. So inner join, it will relate only customers which are having the same ID and bring you the what? Bring us the results. That's what it means. Is meant by what? By the inner join. So you see here we're select all from what? From customer ID, from orders where customers on orders, then you write customers, then you write here customer ID, the on, you write on, and then you write the column that it should be used to join the two tables. I repeat, you write first what you want to select, what you want to display, then write from, and then you say inner join, and then you write the second table that you're selecting from. Can you see? We're selecting from the first table. Then if you want to select from another table, then you say inner join. So this inner join will enable you to select from what? From the second table in the same SQL. And then you put on. So this on will show, or it will give a column that it should be considered to be equal to each other. Remember, when you are creating an order, when you create an order, we will have to save your ID inside this table, okay? Yet your all information is in the other table. So here there must be a column that will link your information with the what? With the second table. For example, customer ID is the same customer ID that is doing what? That is linking these two. So this is what we specify here. Select all from these orders, then you say inner join, then you write the second table that you're selecting from, and then you put on. And when you put on, then you say the tables.customer ID. I told you that this is how you specify a particular column. You begin by its table name, and then you put a dot, and then you put the column name. So by doing that, you'll be able to specify a particular column. Then you say you should join using customer ID in the orders table. It should be equal to customer ID in the customers table. So by doing this, it will be able to join the results of the two using the same SQL. So let us write it here, and I show you how it can be done. So to do that, you simply come to our database. So it means that since you are going to use inner, so the inner joins, then it means that we'll need a second table, because this first one cannot be sufficient enough. And we will need another unique identity that will help us to identify sorry, let me just click on browse. Sorry, I was not showing everything here. Okay, we'll need another identity. It's already there, and this identity will help us to identify a particular user. Okay, so let us create a table of maybe, how should we call? These are students, so you can write their marks. Okay, let us write marks. So I'll have to create another table of marks. So I'll come here to new, and I'll call it marks. Okay, and then here we'll have maybe I can put a name that will be used to relate with the table, with the first table, which is the table of student. So I can say it's an ID, because the table student also has an ID. Okay, so you see the student table is also having ID. So we'll use this one to join the two. So I hope among this ID we have 3. No. Here we have to create another column. So I'm creating marks. Maybe, for example, I can put mid exam, and it will be an integer, and I put here marks exam. It will also be an integer. So you have the two, marks exam and mean exam. So, and maybe I can put here comment or review. Okay, then I can make this one to be text, and then I run it. I just add one more column. Okay, so let us first see before we run it. We're going to collect the ID of the owner of this mark. Then you collect the minimum exam, and then you collect the mid exam. Let me say not mean. I was meaning mid exam, and maybe final exam. So so we have the mid and final, and then we have the comment of the teacher. So let me run this table. I have to delete this. I have to specify the length. Variable character. Okay, let me say 455. Okay, so I will have to save. It is saved. Now I'm going to show you how we can use the inner join to join the two SQLs. To join the two tables. But before we join the two, we have to do what? We have to insert some data in this SQL. So we can also insert the data from here. So I'll select this one to be 1. So it means that that is a order of that was inserted by, the marks of the student 1, and then give him the mid of 40, 25, and then mid of 40. Okay, so I can write here fair. Okay, so I'll add another mark by simply putting here 2. I can put here mid, he got maybe 21, and final got 55. I can say good. I can add another column still, another rows. Okay, so after adding these rows, I do what? I update. I insert. So you can see the rows have been what? Have been inserted. So if I click here on marks, you'll find that I'm having some 2 data. Now I want, let me first let me insert to like some more so that this example should make sense. So I'll come to insert. I'm going to insert another student who is having 3. Another record which is having again 2, and then I know I've already created 2, but I'm repeating it for a reason. There's something I want to explain. So I will make it 2. Maximum I will make it midterm I make it 24. Final exam I make it maybe 61. I'm going to say good. Okay, so let me put the last one. I can put again 2, so there should be 2 orders. Okay, let me put 3, and then I'll put here maybe 55, and then I put here final exam. Final exam, this one I'm giving him too much, maybe 31 and maybe 55. Okay, just for the sake of practice, I can put here maybe fair, and then I do what? I run this. Okay, so it is now what? It is now gone. We have just inserted the marks of student. Now we are having 2 tables in our what? In our database. The table of marks and the table of what? Of students. So how do we join the 2? Because sometimes you may need a record that is fetching the username and his address. At the same time, you need also the record that is fetching for what? That is fetching these things from what? From that is fetching them from what? From different table using the same SQL. So you have 2 tables right now. Okay, so to make these 2 tables work together, so we just simply write the SQL using the inner. So Ctrl Shift S. I can change this one to what? To 19. I can select the what? The inner SQL. I can select using what? Using the join SQL. And this is how it works. Select, and then you specify what to select. And this is where I'm going to show you the what? The problem where it comes from. So we just simply say select. First we will select all of them, and then we say select all from where? From from student, and then after you put what? Inner join. Then after inner, so it's supposed to be double N. It is inner, then join, then you put the table that you want to do what? To join with. It's supposed to be inner join, and then here we write the second table that we want reference to, or that we want to fetch the information to. For example, here we are selecting student, but we want to select also marks, or I can even as well say marks. Okay, so a mark has an ID, but we don't know the owner of this ID. Now if we want to get their profile or their records in the same SQL, that's why we use select from what? From and then that's why we say select from marks, and then we say inner join, then we put the politician, we put the second table that you want to select from, and then after you specify the column that should be used to relate the two tables. Okay, the column that should be used to do what? To relate the two tables. So how do you do that? By simply saying inner join, on, and then you specify the column that you are processing. So I say on, and then I say okay, so this enables us to select from student. Then I say on, and then here I'll have to base on what? On marks, and reference its what? Its ID. Marks dot what? Dot ID is equal to then you also reference from what? From this second one. Remember, the second one is also having what? An ID. So by these two, they'll be able to do what? To relate and see which are satisfying the condition, and present the result of both tables. So if I come to SQL and I delete everything, I run it, what's wrong? Select all from that, inner join, student. I don't know what's wrong with it. What is it saying? Student with ID is school dot this error is caused by select. Oh, what did I run exactly? Did I run the second one only, or I run both of them? So if I run it, it's having some error. Just student max ID. Does it max have a table of ID? Okay, so it is having an ID. It's having an ID. I don't know why it's not running. So did I write the spelling of inner join properly? So go. So let us read the error. Select from marks, inner join, student on marks.id is equal to student.that. Okay. Table SQL.student does not exist. I think I'm running in wrong SQL. Student table student is not existing. What is existing? Is it student or students? Select all from. Let us see. It is select all from marks where inner join, then student on marks.id is equal to student.id. That's SQL is okay. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why. Select all from that. Okay, let me select a particular thing. Let me select only maybe the gender. Let's say maybe select gender. Let me select this one and run it and see what could be the problem. I don't know why. Select is correct spelling. Table student. Oh, I think yeah, the problem is here. It is students, not student. You see the problem? The problem is student. So you see, let me now select all. So let me put here select all. I'll just come here and run the SQL. Can you see? Can you see? What has been returned is from more than one table. Okay? What has been returned is from more than one table. Both tables have been combined. And there is no duplicate, there is no repetition. There is no repetition because we set a condition that for the result to be returned, its ID in the mark and its ID in the student, they should be the same. And that's why we were able to do what? To receive that's why we're able to receive both results like this. But just like the way I told you before, it will be so hard for us to differentiate the two. For example, when you start working with the PHP, you'll find that this one is ID and this one is ID. Now how will you know this is the ID for the product and this is the ID for the customer? Okay, so to do that, to know the ID, you have to to know the ID, you have now to rename it, like the way I said. Okay, you have to do what? To rename it using the as aliases. You can rename it using the as alias. Otherwise, if you don't rename values which are having same columns and you're selecting from different tables, it can be so hectic. Okay, so in next class we'll begin from there, inshallah, and we'll have to look at if all goes well, we may complete, and then we start the revision of SQL, and then we go back to to PHP. So I'll send you the task to try, and I will share the video.